go slower if you want.
Bring that bouquet a little lower. Yeah,
Go slower?
you
You do it again.
No, it's okay. Come on. Want to pinch your side out a little off.
Or what?
No, yes. I don't get to say that at normal weddings, so today I got it.
You guys are going to stop right there for a second. We'll just take in the song for a second. Sounds like the song kind of fits. Still kids out there. This is pride and marriage this afternoon. Before you whisk her away, though, maybe you should shake Dad's hand and thank him for raising your amazing daughter. Thank you. Good stuff. Well, everybody, we're here. We're here for.
Yep.
What an incredible way to start the year, of course. Of course, all of you know, some of you have known these guys for a long time, but I think, you know, there's a, we swatted that mosquito, didn't we?
Yep.
That one good. We're good. But, actually, Woody Allen, there's a quote from Woody Allen, he says, the hardest part of life is just showing up. That's like 80% of everything. And, you know, really, I think for you guys, even today, all this is all done now, all figuring it out and how it's going to work. Now you can just relax and enjoy. And you know, there's a scripture too, Zach, that says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from above." And I know not only are we excited, but I know you have heaven's attention today as well. And you know, God gets so excited when two people say they want to enter into covenant. And I think something that makes this all that much more sweeter is that really for the two of you, you were just kids when you first met, and you've grown up together, and you're still growing together, and here you are knowing your best friend, and some of you know it was about 5 years ago that, so Shayli, this was, I guess, was one of your friend is, yeah,
right there.
You guys, there it is, yeah. So this was you guys were friends, and this was the older brother, and he was kind of like the intimidating older brother, I think, for Shayli. She was like.
We actually hated each other at first.
Oh, okay. So you didn't really.
Hated. I was just kind of scared of him at first.
Yeah, and you didn't probably help, right? It was like you don't want to know my brother. Probably there's probably some of that going on, but there was something going on. Shayli was intrigued by this guy. He's kind of intimidating, and I guess for Zach, Shayli was just like always the quietest one in the room, and that was like a challenge for you. It was like, hey, this is interesting, and she's kind of cute, and kind of pretty and stuff, and so they started doing some things. You know, Zach was working up the courage to take her out, and so I think for their first date they did something. I don't even know, it was really not a date yet, but they went to Alouette Lake together and went for Slurpees. And,
yes, we did.
And sometimes on those, I'm not sure. Maybe Shayla, you thought, did you treat that like a date? Did you feel like that was a real thing?
I thought it was more of a date.
Yeah, and but I think Zach was just still playing pretty cool. And a couple weeks later, they went to the aquarium, and then a while later, Zach, your family, you guys were all on vacation, I guess, in Prince George, and it was just, you know, Zach just had to get it out of his system. He needed to make it official, so he actually bailed on the vacation and came back to ask Shayli out, but couldn't quite get it out. It was like, actually Shayli was kind of helping him along, right? It was kind of like, so, did you want to ask me a question? Is that kind of what you were hoping to do? And you're like, yeah, I think maybe I do. And then it was like, well, would you like to ask me out? Would you like me to be your girlfriend? And yeah, I think that would be a good idea. And that's how it started. And really from then you never looked back. You guys have been really joined at the hip since then and grown through so much together. And they were telling me that there were bumps along the way, but you've always gotten through them. And here you are marrying your best friend today. And Shayli, in the first time you guys met, of course, Zach recognized your beauty and just was intrigued by your shyness but just how you carry yourself. There was, he said there's like this, you just have this great temperament and this poise about you and a little bit weird, he said, but weird is
part
actually
that one. So
yeah, and weird is kind of the new awesome. So it's kind of right. It's sort of weird in a good way, but he just loved all the quirks and really you guys you're great friends together and how you guys would do stuff together. I kind of what's the word? I creeped your Facebook and I saw you guys on like ATVs together and just like so lots of outdoor stuff went on and you guys love to play together and I think too just seeing one of the things Zach said is just seeing how you are with Kobe. I guess that's probably your that nurture, like you're a dog groomer too, so. Yes. It's interesting, you got a dog that you don't really have to groom him hardly. Like, he's cold though. Yeah, he is cold though. He probably wishes now he did have some hair, right? Just a little bit of a longer coat, but
so cute, buddy.
But I think that sort of gave Zach some insight into the kind of mom you would be as well, and I think that was incredibly intriguing and attractive as well. And just how you take care of Zach as well. And Zach, this guy here is, you can see it too, he is a teddy bear. He's, the intimidating thing, he's not really, I think it's, really you're a big guy with a big heart. Biggest heart that Shayli's ever seen. Very sweet, very calming. And you just have that sort of calm demeanor about you, very sensitive. And one thing Shayli said too is, I was always impressed with this guy. You're a hard worker, you know where you're going, and you're hungry to learn. And really, I think you guys are just on a great. You complement each other really well. You love being together. We talked about that, playing together. And one thing Shayli said too is, we've been together 5 years, but we still have the goosebumps. We still get the butterflies. And I don't think those are going to leave. I think you'll find that every time you grab your hand, there'll still be a little bit of electricity buzzing through those hands as you're holding them. And probably right now you could use a bit of electricity. Oh yes. just to keep you warm. But really, you're so ready for this next step. And this, God's design right from the beginning. The covenant was what I think is so cool about it is that whether people acknowledge God or not, we've always had marriage, and it seems to transcend every culture, every religion. Nobody knows why we do it. There's no one out there that we can say is the inventor of marriage, because really marriage isn't a human idea. No one invented it. It was a God idea. And actually, the first thing he said to Adam and Eve when he woke them up and brought them together, it was marriage talk. He was talking to them about the two of them becoming one. And that's really what's going to happen today. Is you're going to experience a new one. As close as you are, you're going to notice when we walk back out here in a few minutes that it's going to feel like a whole new level. It's going to feel a lot different, and because you're, in a spiritual sense, you're going to experience this oneness that God designed. And so they used to do, what I think is cool is there's some interesting things that some cultures would do when they would enter into covenant that I think really speaks to the moment of what the two of you are about to experience. And now that I think about it, we should have rehearsed this because we could have done some stuff. But the first thing they used to do in a ceremony like this is they would exchange coats with each other. And that was to signify that everything that I have is now yours. And of course everything you have I get to share it. And I think probably it didn't just speak of wealth and that, it probably even spoke of, my talents, my intelligence, everything that I have I'm now giving to you today. And my warmth is now yours. And I think, again, you guys know them the best, but I think most of us could say that we can definitely see that you both have so much to bring. And people would enter into covenant because it actually made you, it brought increase into your life. You were wealthier because of it. And that's really what your relationship is today. It's going to be so much wealthier and so much richer. And I think too that, we all are looking for something to sort of give it all away to, and your relationship is actually a safe place where you can say, you know what, you can have all of me. I won't hold anything back. Maybe other things that I would hold back from other people or things that I would hide, I will never hide it from you. So that would be the first step. They'd exchange coats. Then they would pull out their swords and their spears, and they would exchange weapons with each other. And again, we could have practiced that. Did you guys have guns? I mean, that could have,
Used to.
Used to have guns, yeah.
Sean could give a gun to everybody.
That's awesome, Sean. So,
It's also valid.
For him, not you.
but that was really saying, you know what, all of my power, all my strength is now yours. If someone attacks you, it's as if they were attacking me now as well, and they'll have to deal with me. I will fight for you. And I think too that was to say, not only will I fight for you, but I'm actually willing to lose my life for you. I'm willing to die for you. And you think of, if you didn't have anything to fight for before today, you do now. And again, what a beautiful picture. This marriage is a gift to you, really. You're a gift to each other, but even this covenant is a gift to the two of you. And it's so worth fighting for. And that's really what you're both saying today, is, you know what, if anyone tries to touch this, like if anyone tries to touch Zach now, they're going to have to deal with Shayli, right? It's like, look how...
Be a world of pain for them.
It's going to be a world of pain, exactly. And so then they would do that, and then there would be an exchange of names, as we still do today, but the idea back then, they used to actually sometimes mix names with each other, so, your name would be, like Zachary might become Zachary, and Shayli, but they would blend names. The idea was that they recognized that their identities were changing that day. They weren't going to be the same after that, and it's kind of like picking a name for the team, right? Like Team Zarowski now is going to rule the world because you're a part of it, and your strength is coming into that name, and so that was a huge part of it. And that's even, in Christ, the covenant that God made with us. That's the idea was, it's one of the things Jesus said. He said, "I'm going to give you my name. You can use my name." And it's as if, when we're talking to the Father, it's as if we're, He sees us as, it's actually as if Jesus was talking to him, because we're using His name. We're coming in His name. So that's what's happening here. There's a new sort of dimension of authority and strength that the two of you are walking in together. So then there would be, and we could have practiced this, but we didn't do a rehearsal of that. But a covenant always had to, we're going to use ink in a second. We got a little piece of paper to sign, but ink never used to work. It had to be blood once upon a time.
Oh.
Yeah, and that was...
Wow, that's way back in the
yeah,
day.
yeah, so exactly. Ink works well, but it was so funny because this wasn't even just like we know in Christian culture, of course, that the idea of for a covenant there had to be blood. So like Jesus, the reason he had to die is that his blood was like the seal of the covenant, for us. But every culture would still do this. Even cultures that they somehow recognized that there was life and there was power in the blood. And so when some cultures they put a cut either on their wrist or in their hand, and then they would shake hands with each other when they would enter into covenant. And that was to signify now that the two were becoming one. They were no longer two different bloods or two different families. They were now one blood and a new blood. And in a spiritual sense, that's what's happening today, is you guys are creating a brand new blood. This is, as important as the people are that you have around you right now, the most important family now is this new blood that you're creating together, and everything that comes from it, of course. And this is where I think you're going to notice the difference. You'll probably find, and I think people here, we didn't kind of poll who all's married here, but I think marriage is an interesting thing. You can't always describe what it's like till you're on the other side. It's like I can tell you, I guess it's probably a lot like what heaven is. None of us really are going to know what's over there till we get there. But that's kind of like marriage too. I feel like once you take this step that you're about to take, you'll be able to go, oh, I get it now. Like you're going to notice now if one person, let's say, you're going to feel each other even more than you ever did. Like if one person is hurting, the other one's going to feel it so much more than you used to. And of course, if one person's happy, you're just going to be so excited yourself. And you're going to notice now if one of you has to go away for work or whatever, it's not going to be fun because you're one now and you're going to feel it. So I think one of the keys now you're going to, once you're on the other side, it's going to be to take care of you. Like maybe the way to ask it exactly would be this way: how do I take care of myself? Really, the key now is to take care of Shayli. If I take care of Shayli, I'm actually taking care of myself, and that's what you're going to notice. The more you take care of each other, you're like, oh, I actually feel good when I'm taking care of my partner. And again, that's just one of the things. But I think you'll be pinching each other over these next few weeks because you're going to try to wrap your head around this new oneness that's happened, and that's this one blood thing that you're about to step into. And then the last step as a covenant always had an exchange of promises as part of and that's what we're about to do here now. And You know, the reason that the two of you didn't just, let's say, elope somewhere or go to Las Vegas or something is because, you know, you wanted somebody to witness this with you, and what a privilege that we get to be here with you to witness the two of you making these promises together. And when you think about it, really at the core of our marriage, at the core of your marriage, is a promise. We're designed for promise. We're the only creatures on the planet, you know, as cool as Kobe is, you know, and Kobe will be able to do a lot of entertaining and a lot of you know, a lot of tricks and perform things, but Kobe could never make a promise to us or to you. And same thing, you know, like an animal doesn't have a capacity for promises. It's a spiritual thing. And again, I think it's God's nature that we have this ability not only to make a promise, but then to believe a promise and receive a promise. And that's really what's going to happen. You're going to notice in the years ahead, maybe 20 years from now, Zach, you'll get up one day and you'll be like, you know, I'm really tired. I don't want to go to work today. But you're going to look over at this beautiful woman and you'll be like, you know, I made a promise to this girl. I got to go to work today. And it's amazing the power of a promise. It just brings so much strength and hope. And we get to witness this with you. So yeah, I would just encourage you. I'll read you one. I do have one scripture to read, and then we can get into some vows together. I can't remember if you guys have prepared any personal vows for today. Okay, but I got you covered. No worries, I got you covered. But Ecclesiastes 4, it says, two are better than one, because, and this is, so I'll tell you kind of the background here. Solomon in his day, he was kind of like the Warren Buffett of his day. He was the richest guy on the planet, and people considered him the wisest person on the planet, and people would come from all over to get his advice. And so he's talking about the power of covenant, like what you're stepping into. He says, two are better than one, because they have a good reward for all their effort. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to those who are alone when they fall, if they have no one to help them up. Again, if two lie down together, they will keep warm, but how can one be warm alone? And though one might be overpowered by another, two can withstand them. And a three-stranded cord is not quickly broken. Of course, all the way, there's actually another place where Solomon says one can put 1,000 to flight, but two can put 10,000 to flight. There's something really special that happens when two become one. It's not just a doubling up. There's an exponential thing that happens. And I actually think that what happens too is it's almost like your ability to make dreams come true. It gives you this power. Whatever the two of you can agree on together, whatever you dream up, like, let's do this, let's go for that. Whatever it is that you guys can do together, as long as you're in agreement, it's like nothing can touch you. It's like nothing can stop you. And there's just so much power in the covenant. And then at the end, it's a little bit of a curveball. It says, but a cord with 3 strands is not quickly broken. The literal translation here is 2 is good, but 3 is even better. And I think the spiritual picture here is that marriage isn't just a husband and a wife, but I really think God's design is that there's a third strand. God, you know, it's a husband and a wife, and it's our Creator. And you can know as you're taking this step today that you're not alone in this, that you can draw on divine support, you can draw on God's strength together. And I really, I was thinking about you guys as I was driving up, and I felt like I had an impression. I felt like, you know, sometimes as we go through life, you know, a lot of people, different people believe in us, some people don't believe in us. We all want to be believed in. But I felt like the impression I had is that God wanted you guys to know today that He really believes in the two of you. He really does. He believes in Shayli and Zach. You know, there's so much great things that He wants to do. This isn't an accident. You know, that there's a plan. God's got a plan for the two of you. And we just cheer you on in this adventure as you begin to take this step together. It's, you know, we talked about the next steps too. You guys are so excited to support each other and your careers and overcoming obstacles. And I think Shayli said, you know what, we can't wait to grow old together. And I don't know why you'd want to be in a hurry to do that. Trust me, you don't want to rush that one. Let the old part come later. It'll be fun. But stay as young, stay children and childlike as long as you can. And just keep believing. You know, you think about the. I thought it was interesting, Shayli, when you said, I've always been impressed with this guy. Like, and really what I saw in that is you've always believed in Zach. And almost more than love, I think that's what men really need. Men just need to think that they're great. more than I love you, Zach. I mean, love is good, but I think if Zach hears that, you know, Zach, you're a good man. You're a great husband. You're a great provider. You're an incredible friend, great father. You know, just when he knows you believe in him, there's no limit to where he'll go. And I would encourage you, Zach, just the way that you know, it took work, but the fact that you would bail on your vacation to pursue this girl, You know, that's really a lifelong process. I think pursuing our bride is a lifelong process. It doesn't end today. And you got to keep chasing her around the house. Chase her. I don't know. Do you guys both have horses? I know you have. You've had horses. Okay.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But stay in pursuit. You know, go and keep dating her. Keep doing all those things. I think when Shayli knows that she's really the object of your love and you haven't stopped pursuing, there's no limit again to where she will go with you as well. So yeah, we'll just cheer you guys on, I think, because this is so awesome. And so I'm going to ask you this question, Zach, and you can just, well, start off by saying I do. How's that? Both of you guys will say I do, and then I'll have you guys do some vows. Okay, so Zachary, do you take Shayli to be your wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish for the rest of your lives? I do. And Shayli, do you take Zachary to be your husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish for the rest of your life?
I do.
Zach, you can just repeat this after me. I, Zachary, take you, Shayli.
I, Zachary, take you, Shayli,
to be my wife,
to be my wife,
my partner in life,
my partner in life,
and the love of my life.
and the love of my life.
I will cherish our friendship
I will cherish our friendship
and love you today,
and love you today,
tomorrow, and forever.
and forever.
I will trust you and honor you.
I will trust you and honor you.
I will laugh with you and cry with you.
I will laugh with you and cry with you.
I will love you faithfully,
I will love you faithfully,
through the best and the worst,
through the best and the worst,
through the difficult and the easy,
through the difficult and the easy,
whatever may come.
whatever may come.
I will always be there.
I will always be there.
As I give you my hand to hold,
So give you my hand to hold,
so I give you my life to keep.
so I give you my life to keep.
And Shayli, you can repeat after me. I, Shayli, take you, Zachary,
I, Shayli, take you, Zachary,
to be my husband,
to be my husband,
my partner in life,
my partner in life,
and the love of my life.
and the love of my life.
I will cherish our friendship
I will cherish your friendship.
and love you today,
I will love you today,
tomorrow, and forever.
tomorrow, and forever.
I will trust you and honor you.
I will trust you and honor you.
I will laugh with you and cry with you.
I will laugh with you and I will definitely cry with you.
I will love you faithfully,
I will love you faithfully,
through the best and the worst,
through the best and the worst,
through the difficult and the easy,
the difficult and the easy,
whatever may come.
whatever may come.
I will always be there.
I will always be there.
As I give you my hand to hold,
I will give you my hand to hold,
so I give you my life to keep.
so I give you my life to keep.
Let's do this, everybody. Why don't we,
Turn off our phones.
why don't we turn off our phones? That's a good thought, too. Let's do this. Let's just all take, why don't we come on a little bit tighter? We're going to pray for them together. And then,
Together? Oh.
any tissues?
Oh, yeah.
I've got something if you don't.
Oh, thank you.
No, here, Shayli, okay.
Oh, these looks like the nice ones. I don't get makeup all over the place. Stuff can do it.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's just join our heads. Let's just bow our heads for a moment and let's pray together. Father, we just thank you so much for Zachary and Shayli. God, for your just a beautiful thing that we're witnessing today, God. We see the beauty in this relationship. We see the beauty of what you've accomplished in bringing them together and knowing that it's not an accident, that you have a great plan for their life. And Lord, just the intensity of the love that they have for each other. And just what a good team that they are. And we thank you today for that we get to be here to witness this. We thank you that we see not only do you believe in them, we believe in them with you. And we ask, God, that you would do this thing today, and you would join the two of them together as one, and that you would bless this marriage. You'd bless everything that they touch together, that you give them big dreams, give them the courage to go after the dreams together. Even as they desire, even as they know they can conquer any obstacle that comes their way, we just thank you for being there with them to overcome every challenge and to join them together as one. We thank you for blessing them with beautiful children, beautiful family, and with a great future. In Jesus' name, amen. And well, as a representative of the province of British Columbia, I now pronounce you both husband and wife. You may kiss your bride and kiss each other, yeah. Didn't need rehearsal for that, did they? Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, we can do the rings too. Yeah, I can take both of them. There you go. Yeah, this is the. Well, this was another key part of the covenant. Always had some sort of a memorial. They had to have a way to remember it, and they would say, okay, well, let's not forget what happened today. Let's build a statue or erect a monument or do something. And that's really what these rings are. They're a memory of your promise today. It's a beautiful ring. And every time, and you'll be looking at this a lot, I'm sure. But every time you see that ring, you're going to remember your promises today. So just repeat after me, Zach, as you place this on Shaylee's finger. Shaylee, I give you this ring.
Shaylee, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my love
as a symbol of my love
and lifelong commitment to you.
and lifelong commitment to you.
This is to remember our covenant
This is to remember our covenant
and our promises,
and their promises,
which I believe are forever.
which I believe are forever.
Shaylee, you'll notice, of course, that this ring's a complete circle, right? It's always meant to say that there's no end. As long as you're alive together, you'll be in covenant. And so yeah, as you place this on Zachary's finger, you can repeat this after me. Zachary, I give you this ring
Zachary, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my love
as a symbol of my love
and lifelong commitment to you.
and lifelong commitment to you.
This is to remember our covenant
This is to remember our covenant
and our promises,
and our promises,
which I believe are forever.
which I really believe they will be forever.
Good job, you guys. Well, you know, as we're getting ready, we're going to sign this up in a sec. Does anybody want to say anything? This is like, you guys all know each other. It's not like you're public speaking or anything here. Anybody have any encouragement or just want to share how they feel right now as they're watching this?
No? All good? Okay, let's sign papers.
That got cut down. I got shut down.
I'm not cold at all. I feel sorry for you. My God.
I can't even imagine you guys will be able to sign these. Your signatures will look pretty
Yeah,
funny.
it's gonna look like crap.
Heard it next words.
Walk over here. You should have just a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got some
I thought the
keys. I
shoes
better
would be
give
Dylan wouldn't buy
okay.
you any shoes, right?
And I might have a warmer pen.
I'm not going to complain because
Want my socks?
No, I just gotta warm them up.
Why don't you put something in them?
But now I can't. I didn't want to like do that.
Get the dog to pee on him.
that'll be warm for about 30 seconds.
Nice Excel in your pocket, pal.
Nowadays, you'll even be able to walk.
Look at his. Zach, your gum's falling out.
Where's our Tara? Want to come sign?
Yeah, here, just like a big sign.
Here.
So what I'll do, I'll just give you some.
Where's that? You write your name in it.
Signature there.
Ron, did you get pictures of that?
Yeah.
I'm sure though.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it might have dipped like in printing it good. It'll be your kindergarten printing. And where's Dylan's?
Right there. Here, I'll switch.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
So, do we throw Shaylee in the river now?
You got any hand warmers for these guys?
I'll delete that part.
No, you won't. That's Shaylee.
There you go. It's not gonna warm up.
My name looks like a toddler.
Well, you guys did it.
I have.
Aside from freezing, how's it feel? Pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Those feet down.
Well, January's first will always be a huge
Why
day
the
for
girls
you
in
guys
slippers
now, right?
Yes,
Like,
it will.
you'll be counting down the seconds to midnight.
Shay, do you want these gloves for a minute?
All right, gang. Well, come on back over here. Why don't you just face everybody? Everybody, I guess we can introduce for the very first time. What a privilege it is to introduce for the very first time, Mr. and Mrs. Drowski. Awesome. Good job, you guys. We can head out of here right now if you want. Unless you want to hang out and take pictures for another half an hour or so.